Hey Guardians, I'm Cornholio, and I am the host of the Destiny Show podcast, and you're listening to the Download Weekly Gaming News Podcast.
Robots Radio presents
Rated M for mature.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Download Weekly Gaming News. I am your host with the glorious mane, the big cat, Jameson.
I am the host with a glorious mane.
You do
Brenna.
have a pretty glorious mane.
Thank
but
you
gooses
very
are not
much.
supposed to have glorious mane.
I just found, Jamie found this card in Magic for me, and it's the Avon Gaggle Master.
Gaggle Master.
Why is, anyways, short,
Well,
short
because it's
story.
a gaggle of geese.
Okay, but Gaggle Master?
Yeah, because it's the master of the gaggle.
It's a flying goose with armor and a sword.
It's the master of the gaggle.
It's not, it doesn't sound right. It sounds like a BDSM thing.
Insert that gif of the guy strangling the
Only
goose.
the goose, yeah. My name is Brenna, and I'm the master of gaggle.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep, she is the it stands for GM, Gaggle Master.
God, this is terrible. This is the worst introduction I think I've had yet.
If you guys have been listening to our recent episodes, you know that we're following a new format. And if you haven't, and you're just now joining us, welcome back. The way it works is we're going to cover big news first, and then we will cut to our wonderful chat room segment featuring Boris, aka Cornholio, from the Destiny Show podcast this week. And we will talk about some fun stuff there, play a little game, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up with other stories you might have missed, along with upcoming game releases, and then lastly, announcements. Also, we are sponsored by Loot Crate. Yes, Loot Crate. We have a link. It's in the description. You get some cool shit in a mystery box every month, and you get 15% off. My Loot Crate's supposed to come, I think it's supposed to come while I'm gone, like in a week or two.
Yeah.
So then I'll open that up. And
who doesn't like random shit?
I know. Who doesn't like random shit of things you like? I love random shit of things I like.
I like not having to choose and just getting a box of random shit of things I like.
Yeah. Because then if you choose, you're not disappointed.
Right.
Or if you choose, then you're disappointed if something happens. But if you don't choose, then you can't be disappointed.
No, you
Wonderful.
can't. They should their tagline should be Loot Crate, random shit you didn't know that you wanted.
Yeah. When is your box coming? Did you not order one, Brenna?
No, I did, but also that's hilarious.
What?
When is your box coming? I'm a child.
Oh, yes.
We should probably get into some news, though.
We should.
We got a lot going on
We
today.
should. A lot of news. Your box already came this past week.
Who?
So, we're going to touch on some Last of Us 2 news because we got some updates from last week. There's been some things going on. So, there's been some good reviews since then. Oh. And, but there's been a couple people that have had some dissenting opinions, just saying that The Last of Us 2 it tried too hard. It tried to be profound, and that made it uninteresting or unexciting, which I can see that. The game has a ton of violence, which is, it's fitting given that it's a post-apocalypse, zombie thing. It's kind of like Walking Dead. But, the review bombing scores are starting to balance out a little bit. The audience score is on the rise as more people are finishing the game. The scores are coming up. So it's not as bad as what people thought it was. And I've had the opportunity. Go ahead.
I was going to say, granted, the things that we talked about in our last episode are still factors in this game.
And some people are still upset by those. And some people still list those as cons, and they might list those as cons and still say that it's a great game. It also, I think The Last of Us, anytime anytime there's a review bombing thing, I think it always highlights how outdated numerical scoring is. And numerical scoring is it's bad. It's a bad system. Like there should just be like points of a game that you can say this game was excellent, this game was great. But obviously, numerical scoring makes everything much easier. And I kind of like how Steam does it. They need to update it, but I like that Steam it's just positive or negative. That's it. Right. You give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and then Steam just adds up all the thumbs up and it adjusts it to give you a percentage of what people are saying.
And it says it's either mostly positive, mostly negative, or just neutral for flatlines.
Yeah. And it would be nice if I'm so distracted. Like I can't.
Oh, you can't handle it?
No, I couldn't finish my thought because
a beefcake and a wife beater just walked by.
Oh man. Whew. It's a good thing we aren't posting the videos. Yet. I wish they would Steam would add a mixed option so that you could rate it positive. You could do positive, neutral, or negative.
Right, because right now it's either down or up, and there's no in between. I kind of like the idea of a rubric scale. I don't know, for these bigger companies, games come out, but not that often. Like it doesn't pile up that much, and you're already doing a full review on it. Why not have a rubric scale of storytelling, mechanics, graphics, audio, all broken down into that seems like it's more inclusive than just giving Call of Duty a 9, because I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I don't know why you gave it the score that you did.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes sites will break down their score at the bottom. They'll list the pros and the cons, but that should be all you need. We don't need a numerical score. You could just list the pros and cons, and then you could just recommend the game or not. So the scores are on the up, and I've had the chance to talk to some people that have played the game and given me their views on it because, Brenna PlayStation would explode, and I'm holding off for a PS5, so I'll play it when I get a PS5. But they say that it's great, and they say that a lot of the story decisions that people complain about, they explain. And it was my friend Derek, and he went, point by point, and is like, I was like, well, people, spoiler alert, if you guys have not finished the game yet. So I was like, well, Joel dies, it doesn't, in the first game, Joel was very anti-stranger, but he's like, yeah, man, but as you play the game, they do all sorts of flashbacks, and you could see how Joel slowly becomes, more trusting and more open to people. And so from what it sounds like is a lot of people were upset with Joel dying, stopped playing, were upset by the spoilers, so they stopped playing after a certain point, and they were upset by the LGBTQ stuff and stopped playing, or they were upset by Abby and stopped playing. But it sounds like a lot of these reviews are incomplete, that they never finished the game or they never played the full game to get all the additional details. So overall, it does sound like The Last of Us is a much better experience than it's being made out to be. Whether it's 9 or 10 worthy, I don't know. I still don't agree with some of their narrative writing, just from what I've read and from what I've talked to some people about. But overall, it is a very good game, and it is worth your time.
Yeah, I mean, everything aside, the mechanics of the game are fantastic, and a lot of people have been showing off just one section where you can hold a power cord and you can throw it around, and it's absolutely insane. The physics of it, I watched the video clip, and there's there is real-time resistance. You can see that there is a coefficient for stretch in this cord, and the mechanics of just pulling it in into a rope, into it's crazy.
And have you seen the videos with the shirt mechanics where they're taking a shirt off the person, and it looks so realistic? There's no clipping, there's no nothing. It's pretty impressive.
But I think my favorite, I was going to say my favorite thing on there is that developers have played this game, and notably one of the guys that did some graphics for Spider-Man, who is famously done for his nipples. Fantastic. And so he was saying this mechanic had to have made 15 people cry in production. There's no way. It's too beautiful.
100%. But then at the same time, you also got to remember that this game is taking a much different approach than most other games, whereas this game, they're motion capturing almost everything.
Yeah.
Everything in the game, they were using mocap for and actors, whereas most games, they don't do that. They might mocap their cutscenes,
Right.
but the rest of the stuff, they're just, they'll use
Crazy.
Yeah, they'll use like a person, doing like hopping a fence as a reference, and then they'll build it all in engine. Whereas this, they're using it pretty much everything. They're using 100% motion capture and then putting that into their engine. So
it's insane that it's literally going to be like full on acting, full on everything. And we're just going to digitize it and throw it in an engine, and that's going to be a game.
Yeah. Additionally, Last of Us set a sales record of for Sony for 4 million copies in 3 days, which is the highest grossing Sony game in that time period. The second one, I think, was Spider-Man with 3.7.
And then I think it goes to God of War, right?
Yeah. So, 4 million, it's a respectable number. It probably would have been over 10 million in 3 days if you sold on PC as well. Just saying.
Oh, and if they didn't have all this shit leading up to it, which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
And
the leaks and all that.
I'm kind of shocked, to be honest, because it had came out, all these leaks had come out, and the fact that, it is an LGBTQIA plus, fucking Jesus. It is that whole bracket, and it still sold a lot. Like, I'm surprised that people still bought it, just because I'm that, disappointed in humanity lately.
People were here for the story, and most people in our age bracket don't care about that anymore. It's the older gamers and then some of the other questionable gamers. But at the end of the day, people, just get over your fucking self. God.
Yeah. God, this game has really cool things, like you can play guitar with your touchpad on your DualShock controllers.
I can't believe the shit I've been seeing people play on that. Like, people are playing legit songs and they sound good. Like, it's pretty
insane.
impressive. I can't stand Neil Druckmann though, like, at all. Like, just every time I see a tweet from him on Twitter, he just pisses me off more and more. Don't get me wrong, the guy is a great writer. He's pretty visionary when it comes to his storytelling and whatnot, but he's also an asshole.
God, I can't stand you. That's how I felt about Kanye West for a really long time, because he kept putting out songs that I was like, this is a good song, but I hate you as a human being.
Yeah. And Neil Druckmann, he's on thin ice right now with just how Naughty Dog has been treating their employees, that I think there's going to come a point where it's not going to matter how good of games he makes if, they're
the bad publicity. And people are starting to realize that if you come together and you support a company or you do not support a company, they will fall. So we are a consumer based place. The capitalism is a thing, and if we don't purchase things, companies will fall. And I think people are starting to realize that with all the protesting and stuff like that, companies are scared.
Yeah.
And so they should be if you're
companies are doing the opposite now to try and combat that, like with Pride Month, where they're like, hey, let's slap, rainbow flags and say we support Pride. Everybody fucking does it now.
Can we talk about IGN's stupid ass name for their JPEG on their flag?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. IGN, if you go to their page, at the very top, they have a all-inclusive flag, right? All the colors, everything. If you hover over that, the name for the JPEG is Quarantine. Pride Quarantine.
It's because they're doing a live stream this weekend to celebrate, the 5 years since the law was passed legalizing it federally. Or recognizing it federally, but yeah, it's dumb.
Has it been? Oh God, it has. Okay.
I feel like it's been longer than 5 years, but maybe it hasn't.
No, it hasn't, because it was recognized in California before it was recognized.
That's right. That's federally. What I was thinking of.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. So unfortunately, this week has also been another wave of harassment and abuse and racism coming out in the gaming community and Twitch as well. And so it's been so much to keep track of this week, and we're going to kind of highlight on some of the big ones. We're not going to get too bogged down into it because literally we could just talk about this for days. It's
Crazy
just
amount. The
basically,
amount of names on this list is just too damn long.
and these are just the big ones. These are the big ones we pulled out. Basically, what it boils down to is there's just so much toxicity in gaming, and a lot of this has to do with, one, the outdated idea of masculinity, and two, it has to do with a bunch of white guys in positions of power. So
we don't even need, just fuck this whole segment. He just said it all.
I mean, I'm calling it like it is. I mean, I think there's maybe one person in here that isn't white that's been called out, and that was the director of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So that's just the gaming. That is the
cliff notes.
Yeah.
And the thing that always gets me is people are always like, did this really happen? Are these people that are coming forward really saying, is this true? But there are instances where you see that the company or whoever is working with this person that has been alleged, they kind of have like trails that it did happen or something happened, and they try to cover up or help it. Like Pro Syndicate, who has been accused by two ex-girlfriends, or just one ex-girlfriend and then someone else
he was, I guess, sleeping with.
And so so he had forced himself on his girlfriend at the time. She said no. She needed plan B. And you could see that the next day his company took her to go get plan B, showing that like there was some shit that went down. And then
Pro Syndicate's been involved in so much shady stuff, and he's got some lawsuits pending against him as well, and he's not a good dude.
Yeah, and for him to say that none of this happened and I will address all of these accusations and
Yeah. Additionally, I respect, the what it takes to say a lot of this stuff and to come forward and, address, share this with everybody and address your accuser. But at the same time, a lot of these instances, go to the police,
You would think, police don't do anything.
I know they don't, but like,
I mean, even if they put it on record, it doesn't go anywhere. Kits, like if you say you got assaulted, kits for that are backed up years and years and years, and then it becomes you can't do anything because it's so far past the accusation date. There's just so much shit. It's just,
well, and who wants to get bogged down in a court battle where literally they're just going to tear your life apart? Like, no one wants that.
Yeah, and you have to go in front of an entire judge and jury and people behind you, like watching, and say that X, Y, and Z happened. And that's like, you have to relive your moments. They ask you for a testimony.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's a no-win situation, unfortunately. Which, so at least, posting about it, drawing attention to it on social media is at least a decent way, because hopefully, all these streamers and stuff, the companies that they, profit off of will take steps. But, companies usually don't.
Clearly,
they want
Cards
money.
Against Humanity, I was reading this and at first it was like, blame for racism and sexism. I'm like, isn't that the point of the damn game? But there's been accusations about one of the original founders being, sexually assaulting people. And it was one of those things, once again, where you could see that they try to cover up, because they blatantly said, we decided years ago when complaints started to come in that we were going to limit his interaction with the, employees. And so we limited his role. And then they said we didn't understand the severity of the situation. Are you kidding me? Like, you just shot yourself in the foot with that statement. And now they have completely taken his role of interacting with people out, and he is just a holder, and he doesn't have a salary. But I mean, it's not like he doesn't get money. It's just some of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. And granted, what I said, might generalize gaming in a lot of these cases, but in the most part, it's pretty true. So, don't get too bogged down, in the whole white male thing. It's just the way it is. But so Twitch has come out and they've released an update saying that they are going to looking into these instances of allegations of sexual abuse and harassment involving Twitch streamers, and that they are taking actions to address them as quickly as possible. Additionally, they are prioritizing the more severe cases and will issue bans or suspensions as needed, and will work through it as quickly as possible. Granted, that's nice that Twitch has already responded and working on this, but Twitch also has a pretty terrible track record with addressing these issues in the past.
Right.
The most common example is the female Twitch streamer Alinity, who we've talked about her on past episodes before. She has dozens, probably over a dozen instances where she's had some form of like nudity, quote, accidental nudity, suggestive things and all that.
Yeah.
And she's maybe received like a suspension,
Yeah.
here and there. And I think one of them, she asked for a suspension because people were getting so upset about it that she asked Twitch to suspend her for a couple of days. So it's
That's some weird shit right there.
Yeah, so it's like, and so Twitch has never done anything about some of these more serious offenders over the years, but they expect us now to hold, to be accountable or to believe that they're going to be accountable. So it's like,
I mean, they might be seeing what they did to Dr. Disrespect.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But so currently there's a lawsuit out against Twitch and specific over certain streamers like Alinity and Pokimane for their overly suggestive and sexual content. And it lists probably about a couple dozen other female streamers. But I just reading this, the whole lawsuit's just bullshit. It's just someone complaining to complain. Like, it's let me see. The guy is like stuck at home. He's got all sorts of medical problems, so he uses, digital entertainment as his only form of entertainment because he can't really go anywhere. And so he complains that Twitch, promotes these overly sexualized, suggestive women on Twitch.
I'm not gonna lie, this guy just sounds like someone that can't get it and is kind of upset that he has to stare at this.
Well, he also follows 786 female streamers. So Twitch's algorithm, if you're following pretty much only female streamers, they're only really going to show you female streamers. And don't get me wrong, there's a huge problem with a lot of women streaming on Twitch that is just, it's tits out and its cam is like half on their face.
It's an OnlyFans type of a situation.
Yes, but there's also plenty of female streamers that are there to stream, to play games. And I'm not going to fault you if you're going to work, what you have to promote yourself. It's a livelihood. It's, people got to do things. But there's always a point where it's
there's
like, all right,
line.
Yeah. We need to, and Twitch has tried to address this in the past by defining their rules better, and it's really not doing anything.
Well,
but
if you're like sitting there in fucking pasties, I mean, obviously, but then also don't let like what that one roid rage baby dude, he just like literally shirtless the entire time.
Tyler one, yeah.
Yeah, and he just like rips his shirt off constantly. So if I can't show my damn nipples, you can't show your damn.
Yeah, so the lawsuit itself is bullshit, but it's nice because it highlights, some streamers that are repeat offenders on Twitch that have just gone completely like under the radar, or have not been addressed. And additionally, the Twitch account's director of strategic partnerships has also been accused of sexual assault from several longtime streamers. So the whole issue is just it's everywhere, and people have pictures of text messages and pictures of Discord chats, and it's literally no one is off guards. Like, we'll highlight some of the other people. We have top Mixer management employees were accused of racism and discrimination, and Mixer's response was to build a positive and welcoming, inclusive team and community. And to those sharing your stories, it's unacceptable that we did not provide that for you. We'll be vigilant in addressing this more diligently in the future. Like, okay, thanks. That's like patting on the back. It's like, okay, we'll take over from here. Like, come on.
Isn't that what
But
you're supposed to be doing in the first
yeah,
place?
we'll get into Mixer in a minute. And then there's Chris Avalone, who is the writer of many games like Planescape Torment, Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, Fallout New Vegas. And he's working on Dying Light 2, and he has just a lot of claims against him.
Accusation. Yeah, and then his response was just like, I'm sorry. It wasn't, I don't know that there was any saying I didn't do it.
Yeah, and a lot of this began with the Say No to Rage the end of last week, and then it's just spiraled from there. And it's even got to the point where D&D has stepped in, saying that they are going to address racist stereotypes in Dungeons and Dragons. And like, I read this and I'm like, fuck, what is wrong with the world? Because like, I totally get we need to address issues, but they're getting in here and they're like, we're not gonna like, they're removing like stereotypes for orcs and things like that. It's like, this is fantasy. Orcs are unintelligent. It's like, and I feel like Wizards of the Coast has done a good job of, stepping away from some of those by adding like expansions that maybe bring in different types of orcs. Because sure, not all orcs are dumb. There are some smart orcs. Like, look at World of Warcraft, for example. But like, come on. Like, this is not the battle to be fighting right now.
I mean, yeah, and I could understand if like, I do like the way that Wizards of the Coast does it, because they have planeswalkers, and the new one out for the core set 2021, like the first person on there is Teferi, and it's a black guy. Like, why not just do that? There are like characteristics of animals, right? We have characteristics of our fantasy animals, and it's just what it is. You know what I mean? These aren't people. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's weird when you get into fantasy things that really just don't exist, and you try and apply,
it's only
real
when they
world.
get compared to it is when they get compared and there's similarities in one culture to this, and then it's too close, I think people can say. I don't know.
And I can understand that. But at the same time, you also got to remember everything fantasy is based on something, that we've created in real life. But like the instance that they point out is, gypsies was the big one that they pointed out that they're readdressing. Totally get that. That's fine.
Makes sense.
So, just pick your battles. But at the same time, one of the top Wizards of the Coast artists, I think, has been let go after multiple accounts of, multiple claims of harassment. He's drawn like over, hundreds of cards for Magic the Gathering, the artwork. So he was let go for that. We talked about Cards Against Humanity. The director of Assassin's Creed Valhalla has stepped down after several accusations of impropriety. And it doesn't look like he actually did anything, but there was just multiple instances coming forward of him like reaching out to like female streamers and other things, and like engaging in like extramarital affairs, and being just creepy.
Shady.
Yeah. So I'm just going off of what I know.
Here's the thing. So yes, he didn't technically do anything to someone, but he's abusing his position of power onto people of lesser power. And so that's like the big thing, is like you're reaching out to your streamers, females, and using that as a ploy. So yeah.
God, the bigger you get, the more careful you got to be. It's the bottom line.
It's just a period. Don't fucking do that. It doesn't matter if I am your coworker, if it fucking just don't. And you're married. Like, what do you think that these text messages can't be screenshot? What the fuck are you doing? You're so dumb.
Also true. But he wouldn't be the first married guy to,
God, no, not even a little bit.
But yes, Yeah. Bottom line is, don't be shady, don't be sketchy. Additionally, Dr. Disrespect has been banned from Twitch for an unknown reason. Twitch has not commented, just saying that they're enforcing their terms of service and rules on all streamers, regardless of their popularity, which Twitch has never done in the past.
Right.
And Disrespect has, he's walked the line, crossed the line many times, and he's only received a suspension once before. And
it cracks me up that it's for no reason at all. And it's like, okay, just scroll through randomly and pick a stream of his, and I guarantee you there's a violation in there. So everyone knows why. It's just he's skated by this long.
Well, we don't know the reason for this instance. And for this instance to be a permanent ban, it's got to be something. And so Twitch hasn't commented on. I feel like Dr. Disrespect knows the reason. There was a moment during his last stream when he got banned, and one of his buddies texted him, and you could just see just the life drain from his body. And he hung in there for like another 5 or 6 minutes looking real sad before he just like shouted like fuck and just like ended the stream. Like he got out of his chair and just like ended it. So who knows what's going on with that. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But they're thanking their supporters. Both him and his wife are thanking their supporters for sticking with him, that they'll let him know. His wife deleted the tweet, but crazy, absolutely crazy. Additionally, this past week we got to see some Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, we forgot to talk about Mixer.
That's later. You gotta scroll down. I mentioned the Mixer thing.
Whatever you say.
Okay, do you want to do the Mixer thing right now, Brenna?
No.
We can do it right now. So
it just fits.
Okay, yeah. All right. You the boss. So additionally, this week with the Mixer racial and discrimination issues in their thing, within 24 hours of that happening, Phil Spencer came out saying that Microsoft is now shutting down Mixer, and they will be transferring all of their stuff to Facebook Gaming, and Facebook Gaming will take over everything. So Mixer is gone, toast. Twitch is the main streaming service, leaving tons of people, tons of streamers without no place to go. And most of them left Twitch to go to Mixer because of Twitch's numerous issues. And so now they're having to figure out what's next. And
go to Facebook?
No one's going to go to Facebook. One person, Goliathon, is the only person who's made a deal to go to Facebook, but Shroud and Ninja are both walking away with all that money in their pocket, and they'll probably end up back on Twitch at some point. Or they'll partner with someone else, who knows. But the Mixer shutdown really came out of nowhere, and it's really quite sad to see. Even though it wasn't much of a competition, it
wasn't.
It was nice to have another place, and I wish there would be like actual competition for the cesspools that are Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
But that's all there is. And that's part of the problem.
It's unfortunate. And I mean, it did get shut down pretty abruptly. I mean, I understand that the allegations of like racism and whatnot, I mean, it was pretty severe and throughout the entire company, but it's not like you can come back from that, I feel like. So it was like one employee that, I guess he was like the only black guy there. And his manager in a meeting was using an analogy talking about slavery and property and owning things. And he was like, no, that is not okay. So of course he goes and reports this and to his higher ups, and then they, report it to HR. He finds out that they said nothing about the slavery thing. And he's like, this is the whole problem. You said this to HR, and HR has no idea what I'm talking about. And so he tried, he left. He's like, screw this place, and brought something up with the legal team. The legal team finally got back to him saying that she is not guilty of racism, and quote, because she hired a black guy. Fantastic.
It's not how it works.
Good job.
It's not how it works.
Right? And so, I mean, he obviously felt like he got hired to fill some sort of quota. And someone even said, you got hired because of your street smarts. Like, what? So, I mean, there was a lot of shit that went down in that office, but it's not something that you can't change with some reorganization and shuffling of the power.
Yeah. Yeah. So who knows what's going to be next? Tencent apparently has their own streaming service out there that they're looking
That's
to
hilarious.
get up and running. It's called Trovo, and it looks like a exact copy of Twitch. I kid you not. Like it
Was it
looks like
purple?
it's green.
Okay. That's
It's
at
like a
least they
teal.
changed the color.
It's like a teal green. But Tencent's already announced that they have $30 million that they're ready to make deals.
Of course they do.
They have $30 million
It's
ready
their,
to
it's
make
their
deals
extortion money. Are you kidding me?
to get some partnerships on their platform. Because they currently don't really have anybody on the platform. It's pretty brand new, but whew,
Who knows? Maybe Ninja and everyone are gonna go over to it.
maybe.
Historically, Ninja's just gone wherever the fuck the money is. So
Yeah. Bottom line, it's a pretty volatile time in society and gaming in general. A lot of it comes down to there's a lot of systemic issues that need to be addressed. People just need to adjust their ways of thinking and,
Yeah.
think before they talk or before they act.
Oh god, I'm so glad to be done with that part of this show.
Yeah. So with that, we are going to cut to a much more exciting and fun section of the chat room with Boris from the Destiny Show. Hey guys, welcome to the chat room. This week joining us, we have Cornholio. I can't help but say it like that, aka Boris, who is the host of the Destiny Show podcast, which is coming back after a little hiatus. Welcome, Boris. We're stoked to have you on, man.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, and it's a great pleasure to be here.
We're very excited. We got a lot to talk about today. We will talk a little Destiny, but I know you want to talk some gaming news, so we're going to dive into that first. So,
Definitely.
this week's topic. With no E3 this year, we've been having a lot of these digital conferences, and it's gotten a little hard to keep track of everything that's going on, but luckily social media is looking out for us. So, with all the virtual conferences and all the upcoming game announcements, new trailers, gameplay, and everything, is there anything that interests you that you've seen so far, or anything that's really jumped out at you besides Destiny? We're gonna leave that for later. But
Well,
anything jumping out?
so I have been very excited to play Cyberpunk, which is delayed. So that's kind of recent gaming news.
Yep.
It's coming out November now.
I
But I'm
know.
extremely excited for that game. I'm very, very stoked for next gen consoles to come out because so far what we've seen, it looks very, very promising. And just being able to play video games in 4K 60 without needing a really powerful PC, very exciting. And just recently, we got a couple of announcements about Crash 4 that's coming out on the new
Yep.
PS5, and we're getting a new Spider-Man DLC as well. So that's another exciting thing. So many cool things to be excited about as a gamer.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very excited for the consoles. Whether or not the games will actually run in that 4K 60 FPS is another story, but it is cool to see that they're adding that capability. And I do have to say, I was super excited for that Spider-Man Miles Morales standalone expansion. So that's going to be a lot of fun to play. I don't have a PlayStation 4, so I haven't played the Spider-Man, but I do plan to pre-order a PlayStation 5. So I've been keeping a list of all the games, and we are both huge into Cyberpunk, so that's going to be a major time sink for us when that finally drops. Brenna?
Cyberpunk was a heartbreak for me just because, I mean, before, this is its second delay right now? Yeah, so when the first one came around and they're like, we're almost done, or when the first one came around and they said that they were almost done, it was so heartbreaking to see that it still wasn't done and we had to wait even longer. But at least for the PlayStation, I'm glad that they decided to take a look at their thermals and change things around because, I mean, my PS4 right now, I cannot run anything on it. I mean, the game files are so big nowadays that it like superheats and then it almost like goes supernova and just sounds like the jet engine is going off in my room. So I can know it's more like a relic at this point.
I mean, it makes for a great heater though during the winter.
I'm not kidding. When it got really, really cold, I would just turn my PlayStation on and turn my TV on, and I would let it run, and I would be perfectly warm. Almost too hot in my room.
See, I have a PS4 Pro, but the only games that I really play on it right now, I play some VR games because I have a PS VR.
Very
Beat
cool.
Saber, that's been my pretty much the way that I work out. That, and there's also another game called Box VR, both really excellent games if you're looking for something to get a good workout. So those have been a lot of fun. Also, I'm trying to get through the Spider-Man game now that I'm
Very
hearing about
nice.
the new DLC that's coming out. So I'm going to be
Yeah.
planning some of that in the very near future. And yeah, Cyberpunk, the delay, I mean, it's a little disappointing, but I do think that if CD Projekt Red didn't feel like it was necessary, they wouldn't do it. So I feel like just because they're delaying it, it's going to be a better game for it. And it shows that they're really responsible with releasing a game once it's fully ready, when so many companies these days are releasing games that don't feel like they're fully ready for prime time.
I wholeheartedly agree. And back when Witcher 3 came out, they did push Witcher 3 back once, just to do some final polishes, and even then, they had to release a pretty heavy week 1 patch just to address some of the bugs that people encountered right at launch. So I think that's probably in the back of their mind that, like, hey, let's not repeat that. But with anything when it comes to coding, there's always things that go unnoticed or things that you don't encounter until it's in the hands of the
Until like
masses.
millions of people are playing it, and all of a sudden, all these bugs are coming out of nowhere.
The way
Yeah.
I always imagine it is, it's like, when you design a game, the circle fits perfectly into the circle slot. And then when you hand it off to the players to play, they're like trying to jam a square into the circle slot.
All of a sudden, it turns into an amoeba and it has no real shape.
But speaking of PlayStation VR, are you a Star Wars fan? Because Star Wars Squadron's coming out in October, and that will be supporting VR. I would love to
100%
play that.
too.
Yes, I
You
would
can
love to
play
play
through all of campaign and multiplayer in VR.
That's pretty cool. I did not know that. I might have to check that out now. That's
Although
more games to check out. Cool.
Yeah.
I would probably get a little bit of motion sickness, I think. Playing, because I still get kind of motion sickness with wearing a VR headset. And so I feel like if you add a simulation fighter game, flight fighter game, that probably would be the end of me. I'd probably take Dramamine before I'd play.
Honestly, I recommend for you start with a game like Beat Saber because it doesn't require for you to be so immersed where you can get dizzy. So I think that's a pretty good starting point.
Beat Saber, I've gotten to play once or twice, and I played it for like an hour at my friend's place a long time ago, and I was absolutely in love with it. And it's the one game that I wish I could have, but it costs like $2,000 to get because you have to have a computer that can play it, and then you have to have the set, which is set's usually like $600.
So honestly, it's not that bad if you buy it at the right time. And the reason I say that is because around Black Friday, you're going to get better deals for VR headsets. If you already have a PS4, you can get a PSVR for about $250, and that will give you Beat Saber.
Maybe
My
Brenna, that's
PC
what
is
we do for Christmas. Is we go in on a VR set together, and we just, like a divorced child, we just
hand it
set
off
up
every few
visitation.
months.
Yeah.
You get it on the weekends.
Let me put it this way.
Holidays,
I purchased a PlayStation 4 Pro just so I can play Beat Saber on PSVR. It was
Fantastic.
that worth it. And
I do-
especially now when I can't really go to the gym. Well, I can, but I choose not to.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to work out, stay active, but also have a lot of fun. I buy all the expansions that come out for Beat Saber. Highly recommend it.
I didn't even
Very
know
cool.
that they had expansions. Is that just like more songs?
Yeah, I buy them all. I think they have Green Day, Imagine Dragons. They have
That seems
some
weird to me because I come from
Rocket.
the like rock band world where you just pay per song.
It's the same
You
way here.
can you can pay per
Okay.
song, but you can also buy packs. I think you save a couple bucks if you buy the pack. So I generally just buy the pack just because.
It's like
I'm
an artist pack.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure though the friend that I used to play with, he just did like downloaded illegally all the songs.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
yeah,
didn't know that was
I'm pretty sure you
possible.
can torrent them. Well, maybe not for PlayStation, but you can definitely torrent them on a PC.
One last thing before we move on to some Destiny discussion. For a while, I was a Sony rep before the PSVR came out, and I was going around demoing the PSVR to people. And so one of the demo games was Eve Valkyrie, which is a kind of space flight sim. And I wouldn't say it was disorienting, but the one thing I constantly found myself doing because I was wearing the VR headset is that when I would bank my ship, I would also tilt my body as well because it's just what felt natural, even though like you're sitting in place, but you can't help it sometimes.
You need like
So,
block dividers to keep you from moving.
oh man, can you imagine though if you're sitting like VR headset and
5-point
like
harness or
one
something.
of the movable like sim
Yeah.
cases would be super cool. So with that, we do want to talk some Destiny because you are a resident Destiny resident Destiny expert on the network. So I played Destiny 1 and I liked it, but it wasn't my thing. I felt it needed some work and it was it was kind of half in, half out on the MMO part. So 2 came out. I never really played it. I got it for free, and I kind of got into it then. And now I'm kind of getting a little bit more into it now, just from the co-op friend aspect. But they made an announcement 2 weeks ago regarding the future of Destiny 2 and that they're doing this integration and this new Beyond Light. So can you tell us a little bit about what's coming and what Beyond Light is going to be?
So Beyond Light is the next major expansion from Bungie. It's going to give us a new location. We're going to a place called Europa. And if you're a Guardian who's been playing Destiny from the beginning, you know Europa is part of the Destiny lore. The Exo Stranger is a character who's coming back in this new major expansion, and we're going to see a lot of changes happen this fall. Pretty much 85% of the weapons and armor that we have right now, they're going to be essentially made obsolete. So that's a pretty drastic change for Bungie to take.
I did hear about
In
that. They're
addition
kind
to
of
that,
phasing out.
yeah, and then in addition to that, we're actually losing 5 destinations that we currently have in the game to make space for new things. And so those are some of the big changes that are coming to Destiny. And this new major expansion will go to a new location. We're going to be fighting new enemies, and we're going to have new abilities that will make us Guardians who can fight through the toughest challenges. And it's going to be really exciting to play through that. It's coming September 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, but Bungie didn't only make an announcement on that, they also announced the next 2 major expansions after that. So now we know what's coming out next year and the year after that, which is really monumental because as a developer, Bungie has never made such a big move where they made such a
Yeah.
large announcement so far in advance. So it's really interesting. It's a really interesting time in Destiny because in a way, a lot of what we're getting in the game isn't quite working. But at the same time, they are building hype for what we're going to be playing next.
Mm-hmm. I get that. My big thing about Destiny is like I'm a huge Bungie fan. Like the first console I ever owned truly was an Xbox 360. One of the very first games I owned was Halo 3, but I played Halo 2 before that with some friends. So I've been a huge fan of Bungie a long time, and I was very sad when they moved on from Halo. Um, so obviously Destiny was going to have a lot of the same footprints as Halo, but when they talked about like the MMO portion and being able to have fire teams and drop in and drop out, I was very kind of disappointed by their implementation of it. And then the fact that they went from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 and it's now two separate things. So my main question is, are they ever going to like integrate it? Are we ever going to get one complete Destiny? Like or is it just going to continue to kind of build on two?
Well, I think that's kind of what we're seeing now. We're seeing that happen, but Bungie no longer has a publisher to support them and to fund them. So it's more difficult for them to make these major changes. What they're doing is they're introducing something called a vault, where they will take all of their old content and they will put it in a vault once they retire that content, so they can reintroduce it back later for different seasonal events and different seasonal activities that we'll be getting. So they are reintroducing places back into the game. For example, the Cosmodrome, if you remember from Vanilla Destiny 1, it's a place where we kind of began fighting against the darkness, and that's where it all began. So we're actually going to be going back there this fall, and they're going to be building it out over time. It's not going to be the complete Cosmodrome this fall, but they're going to be building it over the course of the next few seasons to expand it, which also shows that they can't do it all at once. So it's going to take them time to reintroduce the best parts of Destiny back into the game, and I think that's one of the things they're working on.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for that info. I'm sure we'll probably squat up in a fire team one of these days when Brenna and I aren't complete trash. We've got a decent gear level. But let's go ahead and let's move on to the 60-second download game. Brenna.
Yes.
Explain the game.
This is where we have 60 seconds on the clock, and we're going to be asking our guests a series of sort of gamer-like questions. And I have been taking over this game now that I talked so much shit in the last episode for Jamie's chatty Cathiness.
Yes. So the big thing is to answer fast and the kind of the first thing that jumps out to your mind.
So we're going to try and run through these pretty quick, almost like a Family Feud type style. And Jamie can be my Vanna White. Fantastic with the arm movements. Yeah, go ahead and set the timer for me, Jamie.
3, 2, 1, go.
What is your favorite childhood game?
Pokemon.
Awesome. All right, what is your current favorite game?
Destiny.
That's an easy one. So what is your go-to gaming snack and or drink?
Doritos and Ben & Jerry's.
Fantastic. All right, what is your favorite type of Slim Jim and or meat stick jerky?
Mild and just mild.
Okay.
I love that you know this. Okay. Gaming character crush.
Oh, that's tough.
Man.
This is one that always
gets everyone.
Man, gaming crush. Oh. I know this. Kitana? I don't know. Mortal Kombat?
That's okay. No, that was nice. Yeah.
Ding ding though. That's time. That
Should
one
we
always
finish these out? But
let's pick a few more. Pick a few more out of the selection.
Okay. Let's see. Who is your gaming companion? Example, like a pet.
Rocky. He likes to bark at zombies when I play and bark at enemies.
Fantastic.
So my dog.
What kind of a dog do you have?
He's a Pomeranian Chihuahua, and it was actually his birthday yesterday.
I did see
Fantastic.
the pictures. He's quite adorable.
He is pretty cute.
All right, I'm gonna ask you two more. So, what is
Okay.
your favorite system of all time?
I'm gonna say my PC because it's the most powerful system I've ever had. So I would say it's probably gonna have to be my favorite. Although
All
the
right,
Xbox 360 had some amazing games,
I
and I
swear
love my
every
Nintendo Switch.
yeah
So
every guy we get in here, it's like 360 is always their
You don't
second.
understand the bonds we made
I
with people
know,
on,
I
it's
on
Halo.
know.
It's
Xbox
Halo.
Live.
There was a bond with Halo
There
and
was
Gears,
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
such a tight community.
Circle jerk is more so what it was, to be honest. Um,
I like it.
and I guess my last one would be I kind of like this question because it brings more people to the smaller community. So, what is your favorite or current content creator?
My favorite content creator.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say James Work because I have so much admiration for what he does for the community, and he pretty much gives back to not only the content creators who are smaller, which is really rare. A lot of content creators are just out there to promote themselves and get more likes. He's very different in that respect, and also he's a great Sherpa. He helps a lot of Guardians through the hardest activities in Destiny, and also he has a weekly show called The Guardian Royale. So, which is really awesome show. Highlights content creators, small and big, and
Very cool.
they do it
Yeah.
on the weekends.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, it's been awesome having you. Let's go ahead and why don't you tell us a little bit about the Destiny show and what you've got coming up, as well as let us know where we can find you on social media or streaming or anything like that.
Yes, so I am Cornholio, and I am the host of the Destiny Show podcast. We are a Destiny podcast. We're all about featuring community members, big and small. We're going to have amazing guests on the show in the coming weeks, in the coming months, and we're going to be talking about a ton of Destiny. We have a lot of conversations to have about so many different topics in Destiny, from art, from the music, from the upcoming expansions. And I'm really excited to share that with you all. You can also find us on Twitter at The Destiny Show. You can also find us on the web at destinyshow.com. And you can find us on all major platforms. We have new episodes that are out right now. And we're going to be live this Thursday with Grace, who is a really awesome Destiny community artist. And we're really excited to have her on the show. And we're going to be talking about the upcoming expansion that's coming out in September.
Very cool. Very cool. Well,
Cool.
thank you
Yeah.
for sharing, and thanks for being on today. It was awesome to talk to you. I know we got a chance to talk a little bit over the weekend prior, so it's been great connecting with you, and I hope we can keep doing it going forward.
Absolutely, likewise. And maybe we can have you guys on the Destiny show sometime. I think we'll have some space, I think in August or September. And we'd love to have you guys on.
Very cool. Let us
Yeah.
know.
Just let
All
us
right.
know if you have a PG rating. I don't know that we can be on.
No, we're potty mouth sometimes.
All right.
I can
I
be a
love
potty
your
mouth.
phrasing. Potty mouth. Fantastic.
Yes. Well, I try to be semi appropriate, but I'm not always. Depends. Usually I'm
Well,
worse on Thursdays.
yeah. Well, thank you again for coming on, and with that, we are going to head back to news you might have missed. And we are back from the chat room with news you might have missed. It was a good chat room segment. Boris is a good guy.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
I'm
talking.
gonna go back and listen to every one of the last seconds of this because I feel like you say the same exact thing.
I don't.
This person is a good guy.
Can't they all be good guys, Brenna?
Everybody is a good guy, at least on
Not
our network.
Not everybody.
Just
Not
on our network.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've also some news you might have missed. We got to see some more Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay, which is the upcoming game in the Baldur's Gate franchise. And for those that don't know, it's basically a PC 3D version of D&D, turn-based strategy with a lot of story. Super fun. And they showed us all sorts of new gameplay elements, all sorts of new creatures. We got to see some teleporting spiders, spend some time messing around in the Underdark, which is home to the Dark Elves. So all sorts of
teleporting spiders sound just the worst.
They really do.
Like,
can you imagine?
That sounds
Can you
terrible.
imagine having like a tissue and going to like the wall to like get a spider just whoop, gone?
Yeah, and then it just like teleports on the top of your hand and is like, what, motherfucker?
Can you imagine living in Australia?
No.
They're teleporting.
They have like horse crab spiders that are like massive.
Please no.
God.
Oh goodness. Reminds me of a time in Costa Rica where we they have a lot of big spiders, orb spiders. I've never seen a spider move so fucking fast. Like, sweet Jesus, that was
How high did your voice go?
Oh, I fucking lost. People threw shit. Like, well, it was hiding behind the drapes, so you had to move the drapes. So you're already reaching over, like, oh no, like it's gonna be on the drapes, and you just reach up and you try to grab it, and they're just gone, skirted out of there.
You're like sacrificing small children to it.
We were like trying to catch it in the trash can, so like someone like threw the trash can at the wall, and of course it's already gone. It's way past that, but Jesus, terrifying.
All hell broke loose.
Seriously. Additionally,
years of evolution, and then just one fucking spider. Everyone just evolves.
Additionally, we got to see some more gameplay from the Evil Geniuses 2 trailers. This game's looking so much fun. Like, I'm so ready for this to come out and to play it. It's just, it looks like good, clean fun.
It really does. Where I want
minions.
Yeah, you just have assassins and you build your evil lair. Good, clean fun.
Yeah. Additionally, Nintendo has decided that mobile games is not where it's at, and they are going to be stepping back from developing more games for mobile, which, I get it, but at the same time, they're just not developing the right games for mobile, is what I think it comes down to.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm not necessarily a fan of mobile games, period.
Yeah.
They're like, it's like having like a tabletop simulator or whatever on your phone, just like little random games like Mahjong and friggin' like Sudoku or something, like whatever. Those can be on your phone.
Yeah. And nowadays, whenever anyone designs a mobile game, it's a money trap. It
really is.
They have just riddled with microtransactions. But go ahead. You had something to say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, any involved game, like they have RPG games, they have like obviously Call of Duty is on here, so is PUBG, and it's like how your phone is like literally searing hot, and it drains the battery in like 10 minutes. So what is even the point?
It's not my thing. I'll wait until I get on my PC, play some real games. But shortly after that, Pokemon Company announced Pokemon Unite, which is a new upcoming MOBA mobile game, where if you're not familiar with the term MOBA, it's basically League of Legends. You pick some champions, you play on a little map. And that game is also being co-developed by Tencent.
Who would have thought?
So Titanfall 2, with coming over to Steam from EA Origin, has seen a nice little resurgence in their player count. They're pushing the 10,000 concurrent player number, which is very nice to see. I did pick that up. It was on sale for the cheaps. Additionally, the Steam summer sale is going on right now, so there's some good deals out there. And Steam's added animated backgrounds for your profile and like avatar like cover thing. So I got a nice little like anime waifu chick around my
of course you do.
Avatar, and then I can't remember what I have as my background. But
my god, you know what this reminds me of?
ODST. What?
MySpace.
Yeah, kind of.
Where you
kinda
get
even looks like
everyone's entry
MySpace.
level into programming.
Yeah. What a shit show that was. God.
God, do
I
you
never
remember
had
going to, like, making your whole layout and, like, your
I never
background?
made one, but I was, like, with people when they were working on them, or, like, I would, go to other people's, but I never had one.
Oh, I did the whole thing, like, my mouse was a different thing, and, like yeah, my mouse had an emoji or whatever the fuck, and then, there was music that played, and I had
The
all my
music was the big one. I remember people were real big on the music on
oh,
MySpace.
yeah. Your top 5. God, that was a time. Anyways.
I know. Then we ended it with Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. And now we have influencers on Instagram.
Ugh, I hate social media so much. Uh, Additionally, Minecraft got a new update this week with the Nether update, adding a whole shit ton of content to the Nether, completely redoing it, making it its own very unique biome rather than just a quick place to visit. So that's super cool to see. Minecraft still pulls in stupid amounts of players.
It really
Uh,
does.
yeah, so go check it out. A former Sony executive is calling that more companies should make shorter games because they are cheaper to make. And a lot of developers are actually really echoing this, and not necessarily the cheaper to make part, but just the fact that it's a lot harder to sit through and play a 30-hour game. There's a lot more opportunities for you to lose your players in the story, or they just get tired and they'll drop out.
Right.
So they're calling for more of a return to these 12 to 15, maybe 20-hour max single player story campaigns, so that it keeps players more engaged. They can put more effort into better writing, and I think it will just deliver overall better games. There will always be games that will push the length of time, but
Right.
it shouldn't. It. I do agree that it is getting to a certain point where some games are getting really
Too
fucking
long.
long.
Too damn long. And it like I want to finish it, but it's such like it's so hard to finish a game that's that long, especially when new games come out and we all have things to do, and then you want to go back to it after a while, but then you're like, I got to restart the whole damn thing, and then it's this process where you never get past a certain point. And I am really okay with a shorter game and then just releasing a DLC. Like, why not? You're already going to do a DLC, you are,
Yeah.
because everyone already does it.
Yeah, so if you can deliver me better, higher quality content up front and then tack on additional high quality content later, I'm totally in. I'm totally in.
Yeah.
So Microsoft has also announced that they are closing all of their Microsoft stores permanently, and they will not be reopening. The coronavirus just kind of helped them realize that they didn't need stores to begin with. Their digital sales were just fine. I could have told them that a decade ago. Especially since they pay big bucks to have the Windows experience in all Best Buy stores. So they basically have like mini Microsoft stores within Best Buy. So why do we need? And they pay to have Xbox reps in the stores and Windows reps in the Best Buys. And I'm sure when the new Xbox comes out, they'll have Xbox reps back in there again. So it's like, why do you need the Microsoft stores? They'll be keeping 4 stores open: London, New York, Sydney, and Redmond. And they will be rebranded Microsoft Experience Centers.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. And lastly, the next game in the Tales of JRPG series, Tales of Arise, has been delayed and will not be coming out this year. They have, they've just not been able to get the game to where they want it to be with the quarantine and its effect. The remote working is affecting their development capabilities. So they are pushing it out of 2020. New date will be announced later. And upcoming game release dates. There really isn't shit coming out the next couple weeks, to be honest. Last week we had Borderlands 3 Bounty of Blood DLC and Control the Foundation DLC. But between now and July 14th, there's really not much of anything. And that's just the way summer usually goes. So July 14th, we'll get Death Stranding on PC and Rocket Arena. And then July 16th, we'll get Bounty Battle. And July 17th, we will get Drake Hollow, Ghost of Tsushima, and Paper Mario: The Origami King. Sounds like such a fucking cool name, Origami King.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So that is it for this week's episode. Bonus episodes we've been slacking. I know there's just been so much happening. Brenna's been traveling back and forth between California and Vegas, so she doesn't always have the time or equipment. I've got class and other things going on. I'm traveling now, other podcasts. I could give you a whole list of excuses.
Jamie's just chock full of fucking excuses.
You know what? I'm a white man full of excuses. You look like you're going to say something.
No, I was continue, sir.
Okay. So we will have a kind of E3 reflection like bonus episode that we'll probably do after I get back, now that all the digital conferences have kind of died down. And it's, pretty much basically the digital E3 is over. So we'll look at this past E3, this digital thing, and then we'll look at last year's E3. And then I announced yesterday on Twitch, Twitter, and Discord that I have to delay the release of Hidden Blade. It isn't ready yet. And
I love how much we've talked about delay of game and delay of things, and it's just hilarious.
It isn't fully ready yet, and Apple Podcasts just isn't accepting it for whatever reason. So I've got to figure that out, and so I don't want to deal with all that while I'm gone and not be able to promote, and tweet about the show. So we're pushing that out. But we thank you guys all for listening and being so awesome. I'll probably drop a little special bonus thing for Hidden Blade the week I'm gone, because there'll be no regular podcast episode the week of July 7th. So I'll post something out there for Hidden Blade, hopefully, if I get the chance to before I have to leave today. But thank you to those who support us on Patreon: Patches Play Games, Dr. Brandroid, Durka, Poolfire93, Miller, Cyber Shorty, and Old Stray Dog. Please go to your Patreon, respond to the message from us. I need your guys' address, your shirt sizes, all that, because we're going to start fulfilling merch in July. So I want to get that sent out, start ordering and send that out. And I can't do that if you don't confirm your addresses and your clothing sizes. Otherwise, you're all getting a small, and it'll be real fucking small. Subscribe, follow the podcast, preferred platform, drop a review. Really helps us out on Apple Podcasts. You have no idea. We haven't had a review in 6 months. Leave us a review.
Oh my God. Yes, please.
Please. You can also follow the show on social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at DL Gaming News. And you can follow us individually on Instagram at DL_Jameson.
And me at DL_Mother Goose.
And that is it for this week. Enjoy your 4th of July. If you're in America, enjoy the week off. I'm going to try and enjoy my trip as much as humanly possible with quarantine. Good luck and have fun, everybody.
And remember, keep your goose loose.
My name is Brian Burton. It's been 26 years since the bombs fell. And since I've left the vault, I've been trying to rebuild. This isn't the Appalachia that I remember. There's so much more to everything going on. And I promise to find the answer. So if you're out there, if you're listening, just hone in on these coordinates. Remember, there's a place for you at the end. Omega.
The Omega Broadcast Fallout Story is available on iTunes, Spotify, and many great podcasting sources.
Are you into the cyberpunk tabletop games or excited for Cyberpunk 2077? Are you looking to brush up on the lore, stay up on all the latest news, and talk about the game when it comes out? Check out the Cyberpunk Lorecast, a show from Robots Radio with me, your host, Robots. We'll go over all the details you need to know about the world, characters, and story of Cyberpunk. Available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.